Hi, Facebook family, friends, my social media family and friends. I just wanted to give you an update because so many people, so many of you guys have been messaging me, just sending prayers and things of that nature. And I just wanted to give you an update. I appreciate the prayers. I appreciate everything that you guys have done and are doing. And again, just wanted to give you an update. I am in a temporary living, transitioning housing situation. Everything is coming together. Obviously, it's not all the way together, but this is a big change from last Thursday, I think it was. Today is Wednesday, so about a week. Things have really shifted. And, I kind of went through, and just being transparent, I kind of went through like a big, major panic attack. But really, I couldn't breathe. And, I was just like, what is happening? And what I found out is that just like sometimes we can take on a lot. I always feel like nobody works harder than me, but who's comparing? You know what I mean? Life be life, and we just have to figure out how to just still get through it, But I ended up going to Hogue. Shout out to Hogue in Newport Beach because, listen, they really wanted to make sure, and that's why I love living in Newport Beach. They really wanted to make sure that I was okay, that whatever this thing was, that I couldn't breathe. Like, before I walked out of that hospital, like, they were making sure nothing was wrong with me, and they were making sure that, hey, she came here and, she really didn't, we're not gonna discharge her without any place to, like, go. And they really just wanted, like I said, make sure I was okay. I reached out to several numbers, and just so you know, guys, whenever you're going through something and you need somebody to talk to, bounce things off of, sometimes it seems like you're always the strong one, so it's like no one to talk to. There's a 988 crisis lifeline number, and they give you resources to anything, whether it's food banks or this, that, the other, and sometimes we just need a mental check, you know what I'm saying? And even though in my case, I'm aware of what I think of. I'm aware of what I'm thinking of. I'm aware of what I'm doing. I'm aware of what's around me, what I allow in my space. And that's why I went to the hospital. I was gasping for breath that Saturday morning. It was this past Saturday morning, 6:45 a.m. I went into the hospital. I checked out 7 a.m. the next morning. And it was really just the charge nurse at Hogue, like, yeah, let her sleep for the night. She's had a lot going on, this, that, and the other. And from that point on, I connected with one of the numbers that they gave me for shelter, transitional housing, things of that nature. They placed me, they call it like a safety place for you to go, like, so you don't be just out there. I went into a hotel. And then the next day I transitioned into, like I said, a temporary living situation where it's literally right here, a house like on the beach, and it allows for legal advocacy for anyone that may need it, transitional housing into your own place and things like that. Like, I literally walk down here to the beach. I've always lived near the beach, not really like where I could walk to it. And I'm here probably maybe the next 30 days. And I'm thankful. I thank God that I got accepted into this. It's not a normal, like what you would want to call shelter situation, like when you think of a typical shelter. But I got accepted into it. I was eligible for it. And it's just literally a house. You wouldn't even realize, you wouldn't even think anything, you know, and I have my own room, and you know, I'm just getting through it. I'll keep you guys posted on, you know, what's going on. But I just wanted to give you a little update. No longer sleeping in a car or anything like that. And no longer putting temporary band-aids on situations anymore. You know, because sometimes you can get financial help, and, you know, that doesn't necessarily mean, you know, just because you're getting financial help doesn't mean that that is necessarily, hi, how are you? Necessarily fixing the problem. Sometimes it's fixing it in the moment for that moment. But unless other things connect, it makes it very difficult. And a lot of people cannot relate to totally rebuilding from the ground up as an adult in their 40s with 3 teenage boys from nothing. You know, getting rid of your Range Rover, Tahoe, big home, going across the country. You know, these are not planned moves. These are not like, oh my God, I'm going to move to Florida and let me just plan this for a year. No, when people pick up and move, sometimes that's what they're doing, especially in crazy situations. They're taking what they can throw in their car and what's in their pocket. And it's very hard to rebuild like that on your own. I mean, it just really is. And, you know, nobody expects anybody to do anything for you. Help is not always financial help. You know, sometimes the most invaluable help is the help from, you know, when people are checking up on you, when they're just simply saying, oh my God, I went through this before, or hey, let me see how you're doing, or offering resources. You know how invaluable that can be? Like that is like worth $1 million in itself. You know, it's not always financial help. Half the time when people ask for help, it's not financial. You know what I mean? It's like, if they're coming to you, it must be something within that friendship relationship that they trust, they honor, they respect, where they're like, hey, let me go to these set of people, let me go to this person, because what they have to give as far as, hey, this referral. Sometimes all it takes, especially when you're going through a crisis situation, for someone to help you think outside the box for a moment. You might be totally resourceful, and I am, but when you're going through things, sometimes you forget about stuff. And sometimes the advice that people can give is like, oh, thank God they didn't charge me for this. You know what I mean? So, you know, guys, when people are saying, hey, I need help, it's not always financial. It's not always, it's just not that. Sometimes it's just like, hey, checking on someone, letting them know they're not alone. That's the most valuable thing, period. You know, I was telling a friend of mine, I was like, one thing that made me really be aware of certain things was that Marshawn Nealon story. He didn't have mental health issues throughout his entire whatever. He had one event, one situation that happened to him, and that was his mom dying. And his mom predicted, you're going to the NFL. 2 months later, he was drafted, but she already died. And no matter the fact that he got drafted to the NFL, no matter the fact that he was playing for the Cowboys, making touchdowns, he was still suffering. And just like that, he shot himself in the head. And sometimes a moment feels like a lifetime, and we have to be aware of that. Not making people feel like they can't come or say things when something is bothering them. Because sometimes all it takes is that one piece of advice that someone can give that is like, oh wow, I'm not like in this all alone, or I'm not crazy, or anything like that. So I just wanted to give you guys, like I said, a quick update. I'm walking up this hill, but yeah, just wanted to give you a quick update just so you know what's happening. I'll continue to keep you guys updated with what's going on. I probably won't post any pictures or anything just because, but yeah, just wanted to say that you never know when that person walking by you smiling what they've dealt with, what they're dealing with, what they've gone through. And sometimes just that checking on someone, sometimes following up with them, sometimes offering that $1 million advice, that $1 million referral to a number that they have to call. Everybody has a one-track mind of help is always financial. Now guess what? I can't wait till I'm on top, because it is about serving others. And what's the point of being wealthy, especially if that's something that I'm decreeing and declaring over me, my children, my business, my brand, my likeness. There's no point in being wealthy if you can't help others. And so I cannot wait to pay it forward. Of course, you can't help everybody in the world. So of course, however God leads me. So I am gonna jump off so I can get all the way up this hill. But thank you guys so much. The GoFundMe information will be in this description. Also in the message thread, Venmo, PayPal, CashApp, and it all goes only to me and my boys, which, by the way, my boys are older and they don't want to be with their pictures and names all over stuff. But this has definitely been the most humbling experience. I told my daughter, I'm like, I lowered myself so much to ask. She's like, well, you might have lowered yourself, but it was the strongest thing you ever did. Because like someone said, successful people don't judge people. You know what I mean? If you're walking around judging people, maybe that's why you're going through what you're going through. Look at your circumstance. You probably got, my daughter was like, yeah, they probably got curtains on their windows sheets on their windows for curtains, plastic on their couch, stuff like that. But basically the point is that sometimes people don't ask because they feel like they're being judged, and we shouldn't do that, because you don't know, by you doing that one thing to someone, that could have been the thing that could have ended it for them. So, just being aware of stuff like that. And it's made me even more aware and in touch. And just being able to listen. And, sometimes like my pastor would say, the things that we go through are not for us, they're for someone else. And it's to maybe help or guide someone else, and maybe through their situation. So, I'm just trying to navigate out of this, because I want my boys to have a whole, healed, healthy life. Because for me, what's the point of all of this if they're not good? So that's how, I know other parents understand that, we don't really, not saying we don't really care about us, and we probably should care more, but some of the things that are happening, we're like, wait a minute, this is for my boys. Ultimately, when I reached out, I figured, okay, listen, I'm going to humble myself, because at the end of the day, this is not only for me. This is for my children, so they can have finally a good footing, a good foot to jump off on, and to start life, be in college, play football, especially since these boys in Georgia were D1, on the track of D1 college for football and stuff like that. And, I feel like kids just deserve much more. They don't ask. Kids don't ask to be in this world. We bring them into this world, and it's our job to take care of our children. And, And so I thank you guys. I will continue to keep you updated. I don't want to get lost, because I definitely don't know this area. So let me get off. And again, all of the GoFundMe information will be in this post, but also in the message thread. And I thank you for everything, however God leads you to impact my family. I appreciate it, because anything people do, that's what they decide to do. And people don't have to do anything. A lot's going on in this world. You know what I mean? And for someone to think of me, my family, my children, to not judge or whatever the case may be, I appreciate it. I appreciate you. I appreciate everything that you guys are doing. I appreciate the prayers, all of it. And thank you.